So let's take a look at the Haskell. It's a grade one at Monmouth Park on Saturday. It's the 12th race, running a mile and an eighth for 3-year-olds. And this is always a really interesting race, always pretty exciting. We've got a lot of players we've seen before, including Dornoch, the Belmont winner, Tuscan Sky, Fierceness, and Mindframe, all trained by Todd Pletcher. Tuscan Sky most recently won the Pegasus at Monmouth as a prelude to this race. Timberlake coming way off the bench since March. Have not seen him for quite some time. In the Arkansas Derby last time, where he lost to Muth in a duel. And then we've got a C Streak, who was very unlucky in the Pegasus, and we'll talk about that. And then we've got a couple of local horses, Jasper's Pride and Step on It. And, excuse me, should say right off the bat that there are a couple horses in here that perhaps will be scratching, most notably Fierceness did not make the bus to, or the van to Monmouth from Saratoga. And really kind of wonder whether or not Todd Pletcher wants to put Mindframe and Fierceness in the same race together. So I'm banking, preface everything we're about to talk about by saying I think Fierceness is going to scratch from this race. Jasper's Pride is cross-entered as well. And he looks like a long shot to be competitive in here, so he may back out as well, but I don't expect him to factor. So we take a look at this race, and we'll go through them one at a time from the top for our early runners. Dornoch, of course, put it all together in the Belmont and finally got a decent trip along the rail. Interestingly enough, he's back on the rail here. Now, I have heard that Danny Gargan isn't happy about it, and I'm not certain why that would be, but he would certainly know better than I do. Dornoch is going to be on the front end. We know this. He's tried to rate in the past, not successfully. And he does wait for horses, as Danny Gargan has said, so he'll want to be up on the front end. I look for him to be the front runner and should be or try to set moderate to reasonable fractions. That would be the best case scenario for Dornoch. And the only thing I wonder about is that was an awful big race he ran in the Belmont. So you do have to wonder a little bit about regression. He certainly has put it together. He's been unlucky in a lot of races, that's true. And he fooled me in the Belmont for sure. But I think he will be the controlling pace. The question is, can he hold off some of the more prominent runners? And I'm not so certain he can, but I think he can factor in this race. We'll just have to see if he can put another good race together. C Streak number 8 is pretty intriguing to me. He was extremely unlucky in the Pegasus. Hades carried him out way wide all the way around the track. And for a horse who is a little bit limited distance-wise based upon his pedigree, certainly that's not a good scenario for him, and consequently, he faded. He was keen, like everybody else was early on, and this horse does have quality. If you go back to the Long Branch, he won pretty convincingly. Granted, this field is a big step up from that, but I've always liked this horse as a hard knocker. He competes every time, and I think that highly unlikely that he can win, but at 20-1, I think he's a horse, if he can get a good trip and get a little more, save some more ground than he did last time, that he has a good chance to get into the money here. Now, as we mentioned, I think Fierceness is probably going to scratch from this race. It would make perfect sense that he does. Obviously, if he runs, it makes for a whole different complexion. And if he's unreliable, as we know, but he is due for a good race. If he does run in this race, he would certainly, I think, would be the speed. And he probably can win this race tactically, having the advantage of being on the front end. If he runs his A game, yes, he can win it. But I'm banking that he's scratched, so please keep that in mind when you consider the analysis I have here. So now we come to Tuscan Sky, the other one of the other Pletcher entrants, and this horse has shown some ability, but he did win the Pegasus last time. But you have to note that he had it all his way all the way around the track. He had the rail. He saved all the ground where a lot of the others were very challenged because of Hades carrying him out wide. You couple that with going back to the Wood Memorial, where I don't really know what happened to him there, but he just didn't fire in that race, and that was his first step up into stakes company. So I have some questions about Tuscan Sky in terms of his overall quality, and I really don't think he stacks up that I can see with the better runners in here. I think he can get underneath, maybe third or fourth for the bottom of the try of the Super, but that to me is the extent of his participation in this race. Timberlake number 4 is pretty intriguing. This horse obviously lost in a duel with Muth in the Arkansas Derby, and he has a tendency sometimes to get a little keen. Now, when he can settle and the pace is moderate, as in the Rebel Stakes or the Champagne Stakes, you want to go further back, this is a horse who's very effective. And at 8-1, I think you're getting nice value. Brad Cox doesn't have any problem bringing horses off the layoff. And so I think Timberlake has a really good scenario because I don't expect the pace to be overly quick. That would really work against Dornoch if that became the case. So to me, Timberlake looks pretty good here, fresh, rested, and I think he's competitive amongst this group. So I like Timberlake as a use for sure. And mind frame doesn't fire. He's got an offhand chance to win this race. Just Step on It isn't good enough. That's the bottom line. So he's a pass. Mind frame is the pick to win this race. Now, you go back and watch the Belmont and think about it. I mean, where this horse was coming from, a maiden and an allowance win, and moves right into a Grade 1 stakes and wasn't bothered by it in the slightest. Now, going to the left whip in the stretch certainly compromised him. He wasn't ready for it. That does speak to his greenness, but I think the talent is undeniable here. And he was getting to Dornoch in the stretch, and I think it's logical for this horse to take another step forward. And I think he'll be sitting just off the pace, and I just think he's better than the rest of these horses. So Mind Frame to me is the pick to win this race. Jasper's Pride, as we mentioned, is cross-entered in a sprint, I believe, and I don't think he's even close to stacking up a New Jersey bred against this group. So even if he does run, he would be an immediate toss for me. So we took a look at our wagering strategy. I wouldn't put a win bet on Mind Frame just because I think the price is going to be a little short. If you want to, I certainly could understand it, and if I do, he would be the one I'd put it on. We're going to go with a 7-4 Cold Exacta. I think this scenario sets up better for Timberlake than it does for Dornoch or Sea Streak. But then we'll back that up with 7 on top, and we'll wheel with 1, 4, and 8. Then we're going to do a cold trifecta, 7, 4, 1. The odds are going to be short, so let's try to max out our value by going cold here. If we're right, we get paid. If not, no big deal. And then we'll back it up with a 7 wheel on top with 1, 4, and 8. And then we'll do a super cold. Again, same principle with short odds. We'll go 7, 4, 1, 8. And then we'll back that up with 7, with 4, with 1, 8. And then we'll throw Tuscan Sky in possibly to get fourth with 1, 2, and 8. To me, this is Mind Frame's race to lose. I think this horse, the sky's the limit for. He really showed me a lot in the Belmont. And I'm sure that he has now got a lot out of that race. And I think he'll be more mature coming into this race. And if so, he has the talent to win this convincingly, I believe. So, Mind Frame to win in the Haskell. Hope this helps you with your own analysis. Wish you the best of luck. Talk to you soon. Be well.